Yo, what's up, Juddy? So, first off, thank you for competing, and also thanks for submitting a video every round. But not only that, but requesting feedback from all of us because that was the whole goal for this competition, and uh, we definitely found some great new up and coming competitive glovers out of this. You included, definitely. So yeah, no, I just wanted to get that out of the way first. No, all of your rounds, I feel like musicality was your highest point, and your showmanship really comes across well. So, going through, yeah. Before we watch the video, let's kind of get a refresher real fast. So, on Nate's post, he said musicality is out of 5. The IGL definition is the Glover's ability to follow the song, stay on beat, and hit multiple layers of the song. This is arguably the most important category of the scorecard, as it influences many other categories and is one of the 2 categories worth 5 points. Getting a 5 in musicality is hard. Musicality is more than just hitting the beats of the song, but staying on beat is an important aspect. Your show should be in rhythm with the song and on beat. Being offbeat means the highest score you're going to get is a 2. Music, especially EDM, is complicated. There are a lot of small sounds and multiple layers to every song, and it is often near impossible to hit everything simultaneously. So switching between layers is an important aspect of musicality. A layer is any distinct area of the song that can be clearly distinguished from the rest. An example of this is having your moves timed to hit the snares, and then when the vocals come in, switching layers so that you time your moves to match the lyrics. We're going to look at how well you match those different layers and how good you are at actually switching between them smoothly. Because of this, song choice really matters. If you pick some hard dub, you better hit all of the wub or you aren't going to score well. A big tip is to overlay your music. If your music is soft and in the background or hard to hear, we cannot give you a high score simply because if we cannot hear the layers of the song. You might be hitting little precise noises and effects, but if we can't hear it, we can't give you points for it. A 5 in musicality is God tier. It looks like the moves themselves are creating that music, that everything was perfectly planned out, and you knew the song by heart. A 5 means that you hit the beats we didn't expect were coming, and you perfectly matched each layer of the song. In the last Light Song comp, in average, each round only 1 or 2 people ever got 5s. A little background on that final sentence there is that I believe I know for the Legends bracket, or that the pro bracket, the judge was Puppet, and because he was the judge for the style portion, musicality, uh, storytelling, and speed control. So he was really precise on those 3 things exactly. Mainly because I know you've definitely watched some shows with puppets, but he really gets into creating a story and creating a character for it, and then whatever that character does hits textures within the song, and that's really how he gets his musicality points. Really matching texture of the song to each move, because you'll notice that he actually has not a limited move pool, but Puppet as a character, as like a competitive scene Glover, he has a set move list that he wants to implement in every video, and he'll add some, he'll take some out, but he kind of has a main couple of power moves that he'll use throughout, and to accentuate them, he uses the song. So that's kind of one tip if you're still listening. Sorry, I'll get to the scores soon. So rounds. Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. So round 6, musicality. Thankfully, you had competition this time. You had Napski. So if you're down, or I mean, you can just skip. I'll probably try to add like timestamps so that you don't have to listen to all the rambly bits, you can kind of just. But yeah, no, we'll go through Napsky's video first, and then we'll go through yours, so that we can kind of not only make a comparison, but because it is a competition, I feel like it's important for a judge to keep in mind who's facing who. Not to compare them against each other, but to see if they use anything of the others, if they play to the fact that they're facing the opponent. Although for like the most meta competitions, such as Lights On, they're strictly objectively looking at the scorecard. But in our case, it's a bit more, or depending on the judge, it's a bit more subjective to facing the opponent. But of course, no judge should ever look at two videos and say, oh, this one did better, so they should get more points. Yeah, that should never happen. It should always be more objective. So, Napsky, I put a little note for his, which was very intentional and patient. Keep using that to your advantage. We gave him a 4.34, which was very close to your score, 4.44. So, if you haven't seen his yet, take a look. So he really used that big lead in to his advantage move wise. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I was saying he was patient. He waits that whole bar to move to the next. And he's hitting some stuff that you are hearing, but nothing really hits stuff that you're not expecting, or at least not at the moment. This part really looks like the song personified, and then of course the sound of this drop really looks like his color set, which he uses really well in my opinion. It's kind of a hard one to pull off, I think, actually, but he uses it pretty well with that Excel function. Yeah, no, that was almost great. I feel like it was a little off, but it was almost great. Yeah, see, although it feels like every move is intentional and purposeful, it doesn't feel like he's hitting it just doesn't feel like he's hitting the beats to me. But he does completely have the texture of the songs like laid out beautifully. Like, man, that just felt wrong. But not in a bad way, not in like the worst way either. That's why he got a 3 for me. Yeah, see, like that part was great when he like pulled it down. Okay, this is good. This part's alright. Yeah, just using that Excel function beautifully. And then that part was a little off to me, but it makes sense, but it also kind of doesn't. I feel like he should have ended a little more large, especially since he already established a theme of being able to hit with that going close and then pulling it back with that middle section to really end it with a larger like flail movement, or to even just to large move closer and then to cut it when it's like right there, right in your face. That would have been great, but sadly that's not what occurred. Another mention towards a theme of depth is when the song was beginning, and then near that build up, right at that right at that part right in the beginning where he goes real close. Just it shows that he's able to use that depth and that he's able to hit that musically. But that's why he didn't go lower than 3 for me. He just kind of had a solid 3 because of all those positives and negatives combining together. So, onto the main course. Ooh, before I go on, sorry. I just wanted to mention, thank you for overlaying your music for most of the time. I believe all of them, actually. Maybe besides one. I can't exactly recall which one it was. But yeah, no, thanks for overlaying your music the whole time. It definitely makes it better to kind of visualize what we're seeing you do. But it also makes it easier to kind of compare to the scorecard, to like, because if I recall correctly, Ice Cream Teddy is the one who created the IGL scorecard, and not only did he make it so that musicality is out of 5, which is one of the highest ones, complexity is the second highest, but he also uses the phrase with the music for a couple of the other categories in the older cards, which is also, or I'm sorry, not in the older cards, but in the older guides to that card, which is what I also kind of go by. So it does. So the music, even though it doesn't always matter, it still matters. And yeah, so that kind of helps us score all the other things as well. But yeah, no, so the main course. Establishing a theme right away, really creating a character. Boom. Like, oh man, see. So, song choice, it feels on point for what you're going for. Song is very complex. And then, of course, the Excel function. Hard to use, really hard to use, can be dangerous. That part was pretty great. And then, although that wasn't like the cleanest, we're going for musicality, and you really did hit that. And of course, that pullback was great, although the Excel function kind of throws that off for me because it makes it feel not as intentional. And then this part made me a little sad, sadly. Because of how you're isolating it, it doesn't feel like it's really hitting any of those beats. Definitely work on that move. There's so many things you can do with it. It can become so dangerous. That part's great though. And of course this part's pretty smooth. And then that part was almost great. And I do like that move, but this part was also a little off to me. That was interesting. Yeah, no, the way the Excel function worked over there made your moves not feel as intentional. But this was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this part. Yeah, so that was good. Oh yeah, but then that was a little repetitious when you added that because you already established it. But the ending was smooth. So if I made the audio a little too loud and you couldn't hear me talking, first off, sorry. Secondly, basically throughout the show you established a theme, you used a good set of moves, but the Excel function kind of threw it off a bit because it made some of your moves not feel as intentional. Your glove set should never interfere with your show and your score, obviously, but and of course, a good judge would be able to see your skill even with, like, just the dimmest set in the darkest setting. But it does, when you're using, when you're gloving and it's competitive gloving, you have to really connect your set to the song and connect every move to why you're using that set and that song. Uh, because it can only make it better, you know? Like, but also I feel like there was some moves with the when your hands were closed like that, where I actually think it would have been better if you were off screen for a bit, or you were more patient and not not try to hit everything, because that would have showed more depth to your uh, so that would have showed more depth to your show. But you could have added some flair into that pause to make it more towards your character, and anything that goes towards your character, towards the story, can definitely influence how it feels musically. Because one thing that you wind up having to hit is not only hitting the beats, hitting every like snare, lyric, in this case no lyrics, but the keyboard, the melody and harmony sections. But you also have to use your character to hit the vibe of the track. And some well, a great example in my opinion is I believe Stunna's Mustache Show does that really well. Even though he doesn't have the best musicality in a literal sense, his musicality kind of shows through his character with the way that he's the way that he's presenting his atmosphere, his that vibe matching the entirety. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You don't be afraid to get a little swaggy with it. Really make a character come to life. Especially in that beginning, I was like, oh man, he's gonna go all out. He's gonna go all in on this, like kind of. Either you could go like that soul route, where it's that kind of keyboard player that just got his final break, or just got his break, like he's excited to go into the show. Or you could even go that like more gentleman route, like like real refined. Even though you're wearing a beanie, I believe in the video, you could still do that kind of that like jaunty swag with it. Like don't be afraid to add more aspects of that style into it. But also, the one move that actually did hinder your score for me, and that kept it not out of 5, it was your point ISO. Because if you isolated it at certain points, it would have hit beats really well. And I mentioned while watching it, it's a dangerous move. There's so many things that you can go out of it with, and there's so many awesome ways to expand it. But yeah, no, it's a double-edged sword, sadly, in this case. But yeah, no. So after that point ISO, you can do really fun things like a linear ISO. And then from there, you can do really fun things like, the triquetra. Or you could even use that ISO to like hit things. So you could like use that as like a cause and effect. You could have like a little that cause and effect box, and then okay, that nonetheless, your show was pretty great. That's why it went all the way up to a 4, almost a 5 for me. And yeah, so we gave you straight 4s, I believe. Yeah, no, I put a little too risky, but keep practicing the point ISO. It could become a dangerous weapon because of the reasons I just mentioned here. First, sorry if I'm getting a little rambly, but yeah, no, you won it off by 1 point, which was pretty smooth, man. But also kind of in addition to that, if you haven't seen my post on what the number 5 show from the last Lights On was. I'll have this in the description as well. This is a link to basically, or the it's kind of a scorecard guide. It's it kind of gives examples of every category. So like speed control, musicality, storytelling. It gives the scores that both me and the Lights On judges both put, because I'm weird and I scored every round in Lights On. But yeah, no, so yeah, if you want to see a 5, if you want to see a 4, 3, 2, 1, and kind of more compare and contrast what those look like and how you got the 4 and how you can upgrade it into a 5. Boom, right there. Watch Mr. Freckles top 32 versus Squeen's top 16, and you'll really see that jump in difference. But yeah, no, and then of course here's the IGL scorecard guide, which I'll also put in the description, which is in here. It's in here already, so I won't put this in here. But yeah, no. Even if you want to compete in one of the You Got Moves competitions later on down the line, because I don't believe I saw your name in the in this most recent one, the GFC. But I believe if he keeps that same scorecard, musicality is out of 10. So it's also same like when he made this one. It's one of the highest scoring ones. So just keep up what you're doing, man. Like, your musicality is pretty killer, dude. Just don't be afraid to keep adding style. Don't be afraid to keep adding complexity to your moves, and keep experimenting with different light modes and different light, like the flashing patterns, the Excel features. It's a really fun run to watch from round 1 to round 6, dude. Thank you for competing in this comp. It's been a blast judging, and sorry if this got rambly, but here's the feedback. I wanted to try something a little different this time to make a video, but if you wanted just a more traditional, like just words on the page, I can totally hit you with that as well. Or because we weren't able to do that round 7 one, if you want me to kind of frame by frame the like a potential round 7 with like the entire scorecard, I'm totally down to do that as well, because I'm one of the people who wanted it to happen. So yeah, don't be afraid to keep hitting us up. If you have any more questions, don't be afraid to tell us. And yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Shoots.